Hey, good evening, Mountain House. This is Brian Harrison with Mountain House Matters. We're here with a Friday night update for you. Latest news, Friday latest news. That's what we're calling it. Welcome. I'm back at the Zaytech Academy with Khalid over here working the board for us, and we just got an update on the election results that we wanted to share with you, and a few other things that have been going on and are happening in town that you probably want to know about. Um, The election results have been updated just a little bit. We were hoping for like a big, massive thing. Word is that what we got initially was only about half or thereabouts of the total vote that's going to be counted. So there are numbers that will shift. So far, the shift that we got went from 17.2 to 19.9% of the total number of registered voters in San Joaquin County. And the numbers changed by just under 10,000 total votes counted. So out of that, Mountain House got a little bump, but really the percentages shifted a little bit, but not really significantly. For the mayoral race, we went from Andy Sue at 62.03% to just a slight drop to 61.93. So what? 0.1%. It went down. He now has 1,021 votes. No, he had 1,021 votes. He now has 1,064 votes. Harry Dillon now has 544, up from 524, so a gain of 20. Raj Reddy gained a couple of votes. He's now at 103 and has 6% of the total count. So, to my knowledge, nobody has claimed victory. Nobody has conceded defeat in this election. And there are still votes to count. Though it says it's at 20% of the total number of registered voters, nobody expects that all of the registered voters will have voted. So last election in 2022 in Mountain House, about 48% of the registered voters came out. We were saying the other night that we think it's probably even lower than that, maybe as low as 30% this year. We won't know until all the votes are counted that have been cast. The registrar of voters counted the other night on Tuesday night after the election ended at 8 o'clock. They counted and released numbers a couple times, 3 times, and the last release brought it up to where it's been since at 17.2% of the total vote count. That counted all of the mail-in ballots through March 2nd, so the weekend before, as well as reportedly everything that had been voted in person or dropped off in the ballot box, even up through election day. So all that really is left are the mail-in ballots. But I think it's a sizable number of mail-in ballots. So where we have currently, what do we have? 1,700 votes. We're probably going to see another 1,500 or so come in. So, the numbers could change. I think more significantly, the mayoral race appears to be pretty well established. It's hard to fathom that would change statistically enough to make a difference at this point. But there are still votes out there to be counted, so you can't say that definitively. In the city council race, where we have 8 people running for 4 seats, the top 2, 3 really look fairly definitive. Matt Disco went from 994 votes to 1,045. So he got a bit of a bump there. Dan Harrison went from 845 to 890. Bernice Tingle went from 717 to 749. Ronna Green is still in 4th place with 669 votes. She had 645 up until this latest update. Probably the most, the closest contested race, I guess we'll say, is between Ronna Green and TJ Rattan. TJ's at 640 votes, and that's up from 611. I had the statistical numbers here. I didn't quite get to putting that on there. If I can find where that went. Yeah, I can't really see that. What am I looking for here? Oh, there we go. Never mind. I got it. I think I got it. Okay. Yes. So Ronna Green had 13.48% of the overall vote count, and TJ had 12.77. So they were, before this latest update, they were 34 votes between them. And now TJ has 12.71%, which is a little dip, but Ronna dipped as well, 13.29 instead of 4.8. And so she now has 669 votes and he has 640. So there's a difference of just 29 votes between fourth and fifth place. After that, you have Suresh Viru, who is at 9%, 9.2%. 9.1% now. He has 458 votes and had 440. So he got a little bump too. Sadia Khan got another bump too from 332 to 343. She went from, she's at 6.81% now. And Wahid Mir is now at 206. So he got a handful more of votes. The real opportunity or possibility lies within the fourth place on the board. Within the city council, I'm calling it the board, it's now the city council, because even with the update, Measure D for Mountain House becoming a city is still over 90%. I think it had just a little slight dip, which some people were like, oh, it went down a little bit. But it's at 91.02. I think it was at 91. I forget, 91.12 or something. It didn't go down very much. So at this point, I don't think that it could fail. Measure D is a done deal. You're hearing reporting all over Northern California saying that Mountain House passed that Measure D. Whether we go at large in future elections is still winning at large. And by district at large is at 44.6%, and by district is at 30.61. Do we have that up there? And the from district is actually picked up some numbers from where it was before. I don't have where it was before, but it's now at 24.73%. Even still, in all likelihood, at large will be the way that we have chosen to vote in the future elections. So back to the city council, you have 8 people. You have 4 people that are going to become city council members, and we have the 4th and 5th races are very close. Ronna Green could hold on. I mean, I think it's an uphill battle. I spoke with TJ Rattan yesterday, and he's feeling like it's, he's going to keep an eye on it, but it looks like a steep climb to gain enough votes. But the reality is there's only 29 votes between them. So, somebody who's a little more savvy with statistics would probably be able to tell us what the odds are that he could possibly pick that up. I don't know. But it seems like it's within the realm of possibility if there are 1,500 votes still out there. And yet, Ronna may just well hold on to it. So we will keep you posted on that. The way this has been set up is that the top 2 vote getters, which look like Matt Disco and Dan Harrison, will have 4-year terms from the start. And then the second 2 vote getters, Bernice King Tingle and Ronna Green or TJ Rattan, whoever pulls that out, will get 2-year terms. So they will have to run for re-election in 2026. I believe that's in November 2026. Haven't had definition on that, but I think that's where that stands. So that's your latest election update. I don't know much more to tell you from that. I think that we may or may not hear victory or concession speeches, or it might wait till later. The registrar did indicate that, they've told us all along that the deadline to receive the ballots is next Tuesday, the 12th. And those ballots all have to be postmarked on election day or before on March 5th. So likelihood that it's going to take that long for them to get all of them. Hopefully the Postal Service can get them there. I have heard that the post office has since received some ballots being mailed after election day, so those aren't going to count. Sorry, folks. You got to meet the deadline. We had the election drop box at the town hall that people were dropping by. I was out there um, just a couple hours before the close, and there was a steady stream of cars and people walking up to the box and delivering their ballots. So, uh, you know, we have lots of ways to vote now, and people need to find the best solution. You can still go to a polling station if you want, but I don't know that how many people actually still are doing that. But apparently a lot of people are still mailing it because they've still got ballots coming in. So we will keep you updated. I believe they're probably going to do another drop on the numbers maybe on Monday. And if so, we'll try and let you know right away where that stands. And then we'll probably come to you when they're not going to certify it right away, but they can tell us that all the votes have been counted. So the certification doesn't come until April 2nd. I will check into what the process is. They have to validate that people didn't mail in a ballot and also go in and vote in person. They have to make sure that there aren't any duplicates and that kind of thing. Don't believe there's a recount involved unless somebody calls for one and has a reason to believe that there needs to be one. Anyway, that's your election update. I think that's all I've got. If you've got questions, please leave them in the comments. We're coming to you. I believe we're on our Facebook channel tonight. We had a little bit of difficulty connecting there. And are we on YouTube as well? So we're YouTube on the Mountain House Matters YouTube channel, as well as the Mountain House Matters Facebook page. And so we welcome your comments and your questions, and happy to address things. If you have information that I'm missing, appreciate that too. Just doing my best to try and cover this stuff. So let's move on. I want to share with you, I rode my bike up the bridge to nowhere today, and I took a couple of little videos, so we thought we'd show you the sign. Everybody says, what's the name going to be if it's not going to be the bridge to nowhere? I don't think it's decided yet, except that they're calling it the Lakeside District. So it may be the bridge to the Lakeside District. Or the bridge to somewhere, or something. Oh, just Lake District. See, I had it wrong. Just Lake District, not Lakeside. So the north of Byron area goes out to the Delta. The old river is outside of the edge of I guess the northern edge of Mountain House at the Lake District. There, at one time, originally, the plan was to put a golf course out there. Many people know that. The golf course got scrapped along the way because golf courses don't really make money, and having a golf course where it gets really windy may not be the best idea anyway. Anyway, it got scrapped. So it's actually a benefit to those who aren't golfers. It might be a benefit to those who are golfers. I don't know how great of a course it would have been. Who's to say? But they had already done preliminary work setting up little lakes and ponds and, water traps and sand traps and stuff. So it sort of has, from overhead, it has a look similar to a golf course already. What they've decided to do instead, they're not going to build homes on that, because one of the reasons they were putting it there is that it's close to the edge of the water, and the water level gets, well, it's like sea level. It's not very high above the delta. So they've put in a pumping station. They've done all kinds of elaborate work to really solidify the ground out there, but they're not going to build homes all the way to the edge. They will have open fields and trails and bike trails and different stuff that people can enjoy. So it's going to be really a great space for like an open field park kind of trails and stuff for the community. So that'll be a really nice feature, actually. They did a groundbreaking of the fire station. That's the second fire station that's going to be built there. Should have given you a picture of that. That's on the cover of your March issue of Mountain House Matters. Watch me fall over. If you look on the cover of your Mountain House Matters, it's right there. So there has to be a fire station out there before anybody can live there. So they're going to break ground on that later this year, and it'll take almost a year to build, is the plan. And the construction infrastructure has already been going on for a while out there. Actually, the road from the bridge goes down and around for quite a ways. And I noticed today there are some light signal standards already put in place and stuff. So they're getting all of the infrastructure ready to build, the underground piping and all of that. And the plan is to begin actual building construction later this year. It could be September, might be earlier. I know that Mountain House Developers has sold, I think, as many as 500 plots. And if I'm wrong, somebody tell me, to Lennar Builders. And so they'll be building some quality homes out there. Initially, part of this area, a lot of this area was supposed to have been a 55 and older adult living kind of area. There is still going to be that, but it's been reduced in size because statistically that's probably not necessarily, doesn't really need to be any bigger than what they're making it. There will also be two schools, one that will start in, oh shoot, I shouldn't have even gone there because I'm not sure. There's going to be one in 2029 and then one after the turn of the 30s, I believe is how that's working. Either that or they're starting one next year and one in 2029. I'll confirm that and get back to you on it. But that's kind of what's happening. Did you already show the clip of the area? A simple majority. The question is what percentage of votes is required for Mountain House to become a city? And that's a simple majority. So 51% of the overall registered voters, it's only people in Mountain House that are registered voters that got to vote on this. Everybody else only got one sheet. You got two sheets in your ballot, in your election ballot for you to fill out. One was for the county generally, and the other one was specifically for Mountain House and this cityhood issue. So we have roughly just under 10,000 registered voters in town. So out of that, you needed to have not 51% of that, but 51% of the actual people that vote. So if we only had 1,000 people vote, you'd need 501, right? We're getting questions in, so Khalid's feeding them to me. If you have not gotten ratification of your vote, I would, at this point, you probably should be getting it soon. If you voted right at the end, then it probably takes them a little bit extra time just because there was so much going on with that. I would say if you don't have it by tomorrow or the next day, maybe on Monday, call the registrar and confirm that, or let them know that you haven't gotten it. I know that I put mine in the Dropbox last Friday, and I got a notice on Sunday midday. So it took about 48 hours. But we've been beyond 48 hours now. So I did see that one resident posted that I know he voted on election night eve in the evening, because I was standing at the ballot box when he came up and he put his ballot in. He got notice today or yesterday. Samik Modi. Maybe comment on that. I think his comment might be in there, or I saw it on the Mountain House page but he did finally get his. He was concerned about that too. He hadn't heard. So, maybe I should just go to the page, huh? Yeah. There we are. $10 a.m. on election day. Hopefully not today because you're too late. On Monday? Oh, yeah, you probably should have gotten word. Mine came in as a text message. So if they have your phone number, which I think you have to provide, then they should text message you, or they will email you if that's what they need to do. If you still haven't gotten confirmation by Monday, I would call them. I don't know if they'll answer over the weekend is the only thing. Today is Friday, right? Yes. All day. So, yeah. As far as the schools, I believe there are 2 schools that are going to be built over in the north of Byron area, K through 8 schools. There are no plans for another high school within the district, which is a little bit of a bone of contention for many because they didn't really provide enough space for the one high school that we have. So the school district is having to scramble to they're building 15 more classrooms, and they already have put in 8 portables to accommodate the student population. And the school is just in its 10th year. So, and we've got 4 more villages to build. So there's going to be more that needs to be done. The positive side on all of that is that the developer worked out an arrangement with the district whereby they got an extra 19 acres that you probably have heard about. It's not immediately adjacent to the current high school grounds, though. It's like a couple of blocks away. But that allows them to be able to build some of the fields and such, so that they'll probably just expand classrooms and make the school itself larger on the main facility. Although I heard somebody suggest they could build like a freshman class wing or something on the other land. I haven't heard that that's official at all, though, so I probably shouldn't even say that. But I believe the first school is going to be J, and maybe we can get somebody from the district on to share more information with us about that. We'll work on that. We'll get back to you on that. How about that? No. I have to put my glasses on here. So the comment was that so the comment is that Superintendent Kirk Nicholas has said that he would ask Delta College for some of their land. They have quite a bit of land over there. And Delta College, actually, my understanding is that they're working on a way to actually start building the real buildings, because their whole school right now is in portable units, modular units. So they want to build a brick and mortar school over there. So they're looking at a bond measure maybe this November even. So that's something to look forward to. I'm not seeing the questions. So. Yeah, I'm seeing our live feed. Oh, they're there. I got it. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be shuttling the kids back and forth from the main high school to 2 blocks away is going to be something that the district has to work out. I don't know that they've really addressed it yet, because partly they're not really looking at building classrooms over there. I think they're looking at doing sports fields and stuff primarily at this time. But I don't know that anything definitive has been set in stone yet. So I would recommend that you attend some of the school board meetings. They allow for the public to have 3-minute time for public comment, and that's a great time to ask questions, or you can email your board of trustee members or call the district. They would maybe be able to tell you some of this stuff. You could also investigate on their website. They might have some of that stuff as well. I can tell you, that segues actually pretty nicely into where we wanted to go next, is that this week we reported earlier, but probably a lot of you didn't see that. On Wednesday night, the Lambertsville Unified School District Board of Education trustees elected unanimously to select one of the proposed district maps. So just so happens that they chose the one that we ran on the cover of Mountain House Matters in the March issue, maybe because it looked like probably the best choice. So they chose map Orange B, and we could probably put a link in the feed to where to get to that. Yeah. I could do that, huh? Let's see if I can get there. Yep. And I have that page on a tab, so that helps. For what? For the school district? They don't do an interactive Zoom, but they do videotape all of the board meetings. So I had several months where I couldn't get to a board meeting, and I wanted to kind of bone up on what this district map stuff, where that stood. So I actually went through and watched all the videos. You can find them on their website, and I'm going to post a link to how you get to the draft maps. When you go to this link that I just posted on our thread here, you'll scroll down to where it says draft maps, and there are 2 postings of draft maps. The initial post was of 5 maps that were presented and proposed to the district to consider, and then they did a series of hearings, public hearings, and the board was able to entertain questions and ask the demographer some questions and get some clarification on things and make suggestions on what they'd like to see as far as the best way to draw a map. But they got some really great comments from the community, and I know that a lot of what went into the latest maps you'll find there that were posted after the first 5, Orange B and Lime were what they were referred to as, and they were based largely on the community input that was received. Specifically, the people that are within the sphere of influence of the Lammersville Unified School District, particularly the people that are in the original Lammersville school area, wanted to be represented. If we're going by district, they wanted to be represented by one representative who covers all of the rural area outside of Mountain House. So that both Orange B map and the Lime map dealt with that possibility in a couple of different ways. The Orange B was what all of the board members chose, and that's what they voted on. So Orange B is the map that's going to be utilized. So this map will begin to go into effect after the November 2026 election. No, 2024. What year are we in? 2024 election. This November, the first 3 seats, as I understand it, the first 3 of the district seats will be up for election. And then in the 2026 election, the other 2 seats will be up for election. And that way they'll be staggered in similar fashion to how the city council's doing it too, in that as far as staggering the election. So you can see on the map, it tells you which zones. Zone 1 is the more rural district I mentioned earlier, and Zone 2 you'll see in blue, and then Zone 3 is largely Wickland and some of Bethany, I believe. So the way this will work for a by-district voting is only the people in those 3 districts will get to vote, and they'll be voting for representatives. They'll only vote for their one representative for their district, and anybody that runs to represent that district must reside in that district. So hopefully that's clear. That's how that's working. If that's not clear, let me know. But they've really gone out of their way to do their diligence to make sure that they do this right. There's a move in California to have districts, both for school districts and cities and such, to municipalities, to move to a by-district representation. It's kind of a controversial thing because California established pretty much a one-size-fits-all rule, and not everybody likes it. But the school district decided that it would be to their benefit to go ahead and go that route, if for no other reason than to avoid potential litigation and have to defend a lawsuit that they don't really have the funds to have to defend a big lawsuit. And as it stands, there's already a lawyer that's been in coming to meetings, let's just say that. He's been presenting himself, and he sent a letter that is, I think you can find it you can find it through the agenda items on the district website. You might have to dig for that. We could possibly post a copy of it if anybody really wants to see that. But he basically was initially threatening that an at-large voting system wouldn't really serve the diverse community, and people that are underrepresented aren't being served by an at-large voting block, and so by district should be what they go to. He's kind of changed his tune though, and he's talking more about that they should go to a ranked choice voting system. Yeah, and I think now he's saying it should be at large. So they've already gone to by district, which is what the state has been wanting the districts to do. So they're doing their best to do their diligence to be in compliance with the rules, and you got to give them credit for that. We do have a video clip that we ran. You can find on our YouTube channel, and I think there's still a link. We ran Wednesday night that actually shows about 7 minutes of the board actually conducting their vote and justifying or explaining their justifications for why they chose that particular map. If you want to spend 7 minutes at that, it's a worthwhile watch, really. So I think that's about all I have on that. Have the same funding? Will each zone have the same funding? I suppose. I would think that they'd have to keep it pretty equitable. The main goal with all of that is to try and get a more direct representation of people within the particular zones, and have people that are maybe underserved be represented on the board. One of the complaints has been that the board currently has 5 members and only one of them is of South Asian descent. Is that the right word? Background. But that was voted at large. So it is what it is. And the districts, the zones that the districts are made up by are defined through the numbers established through the census. So this particular original district zoning presented an extra challenge because the census happened in 2020, and then the district numbers weren't really established till 2021. But in the time between 2020, when the census was done, and now 2024, Mountain House has added about 3,000 people. I was going to say homes, but it's not homes, it's people. So, and they can't count those because by law they have to go by the census. The other factor is that there's still growth in the south of town. There's some growth happening in Midtown as well, and north of Byron is about to take off. So trying to gauge within the rules, there's a tight rule of how much difference they can have from zone to zone. It was a challenge to come up with zones that would be functional. Now these zones will change because it's based every 10 years on the census. 2030 we'll see a new census, and then by 2031 they will release the numbers of the results of that census, and there's going to be a lot more population north of Byron by that time. A lot, I wouldn't say a lot, I wouldn't say all of it, but a lot will probably be built by then. Maybe half of that. They'll probably still have a similar situation as they have now with the south of Grant Line College Park area, because it's growing and it's going to continue to grow, but they'll probably also have a pretty good handle on how to deal with that growth, having gone through it this time. So the districts could change. They will change every 10 years, and it'll be done in a neutral fashion by a demographer who doesn't know where the current board members live, and that's what they did this time. And they have guidelines of what to go by to establish a zone. So as far as funding, you don't want to assume too much, but I would imagine that in all likelihood, similar funding per district would have to be part of that, I would think. Might be a good question to ask the district themselves, though. I went off that page. Let me go back. Which one is that? Some zones. I'm not really sure that the funding is going to be tied to the districts specifically. I think that the funding, you're right. There are zones that have more schools than others. And Bethany is broken up into 3 zones in this map that they chose. So I believe that the funding probably is going to be done. I mean, you're going to have the people representing a district lobbying for their schools and their people. They're probably going to have to keep the funding, I would guess, it would have to be, pretty equitable per school. I don't think that's going to be so much about the districts necessarily. If there is a board member that happens to be watching or somebody that wants to chime in on that, I would welcome that. These are questions I don't really know the answer to. They're good questions, though. So we can look into it further, and you could look into it yourself and maybe give some feedback on what you learned and from the board or from the district themselves. Okay, I did want to move on here. We have just one other thing to talk about tonight, and it's a lighter, more fun kind of thing. Do you want to just roll it? The Central Park. Central Community Park is the playground areas have been going through a renovation process that they pretty much ripped out everything that was in there and started over on the main park area. There are also the areas back closer to the basketball court. They've done some modification. They fixed the ground cover, and then they redid that other one that was closer to the bowl area there by the picnic area. But that part's not on my little video. We got a little video and we have some pictures.
We took the feedback from those, and the second hearing on draft.
Oh no, this is the map one.
Maps talked about these 2 additional maps.
The
other ones are still
right there, the 2 maps. The orange B on the left is the one that they chose.
Table, if you want to go back
That's the one they chose right there. Can you see it right there? Okay, so this map, going back to the maps, this map shows you the pink area is actually larger even than what it shows there because it goes over, it shows the edge. On the left, you see the line that is Great Valley Parkway, and to the left of that, the pink is Alameda County. The area that actually covers is quite a bit larger. The sphere of influence of the school district is pretty large, but it's not very well populated. It's not very heavily populated, most of it. So there's probably only a couple hundred people living out on that side of that. But the district is involved in helping that little Mountain House school on Mountain House Road that goes up by the bar to Grant Line. There's that little school along the way with, I don't know, a handful of students, however many they have, I don't know. But the Lambersville School District does not include that school as part of the district, but they do help them with whatever they need help with. So that's part of what is that pink area is District 1. That's part of District 1. The only part that that still doesn't show the whole area, but that's a bigger representation. So the south part of actual in Mountain House from College Park and Cordis Villages are part of that District 1 in this orange B map. in the lime one on the right there, Cuesta would have been part of the District 1 as well as all of north of Byron, and it would have been drawn differently in the south area. So you can kind of see that. But the one on the left is Orange B. That's the one they went with. So what was the question? Talk about the map. So the whole Von Sosten area and all of the ranchettes that are over there, they're all part of District 1. And that will be part of the 2024 November election. District 2 is Hanson Village. Looks like that's what it is. And then District 3 is primarily Wickland, but also crosses over into Bethany to some degree. And it looks like Zone 2 crosses over a little bit into Bethany as well, on the other side of Mustang Way, which on this map they call Mascot Boulevard. For those of you who are new to town, Mustang Way used to be called Mascot Boulevard before the high school was built, because they didn't know what mascot the high school was going to choose. Once they chose the Mustangs, they renamed it to Mustang Way. So you may still see it as Mascot like you do here on this map. Did I answer that question? Let me go back and see what the question was here. Oh, you were asking about funding, but we were talking about the map in general because you put the map up there. Oh, did I not send you that? Yes. Do we have any other questions? There you go, it's coming. I think you said you had it. You know, these questions are really great because it gives me an opportunity. We have a little bit of time before I really delve into all of the content for the April issue of the paper, which actually I've already begun working on that, but we do have, this week is going to be our deadline week. So if you have stuff to include in the paper, Mountain House Matters is mailed on a monthly basis to every address. We send it by an every door direct mail program the post office has, all over to the 95391 zip code, as well as West Tracy part of Von Sosten 95304, just a carrier route over there, so that the people who are part of the school district sphere of influence can see what's going on as well. Yeah, sure. Here we go. We got a video on Central Park. Then I do have one other thing I want to tell you about. You want to do the video? Okay. Central Park is doing a grand reopening next Wednesday at 4:30 in the afternoon. So bring your kids. It's going to be fun. It's a pretty cool little space. There's all kinds of musical stuff. And I'm assuming there's a part that's not even opened yet, too. This part the kids can play on already. And there's another section that is immediately adjacent to it. This is all right by the big fountain in Central Park. And they haven't opened up the other side of that. And it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, too. There's a big slide over there and stuff. So come out on March 13th. It's next Wednesday at 4:30. They're going to do a whole ceremony thing, and I don't know what all they have planned, but it should be fun. It's artificial grass, and it's a soft turf, and I think it just seems so much better than what they had. The other stuff was soft, but it was getting torn up and stuff. So a lot went into the design and planning for this, and the board approved getting it done. So the district is pretty excited about it, I know. And hopefully we'll get a chance to have somebody from the district come talk with us about it. Central Park has a phase 2 and phase 3 planned, I believe. Honestly, I think you're going to have to wait to see what city council does with it. There currently are plans to make it very big. It would encompass almost all the way out to Safeway, but not all of the land out there, but a big chunk of it along the creek, I believe on either side of the creek. And there's the immediate next phase is to put in 6 more tennis courts that'll be across the street on Providence, across the street from Town Hall on Providence, and like in line with where the current 4 courts are. And then they're also going to do an actual dog park. What's there is the dog park. Matt Disco is to be commended for taking that challenge on and finding a way to come up with funding and build a temporary park there. It gets used. My dog likes to go there. She goes in, plays a little bit, and then is ready to go. She wants to sniff who's been there, I think. But the actual dog park will go at the end of where Providence runs into Giotto, the little street that runs back out to Central Parkway. There's like a pie-shaped area that I don't know, I think is about an acre in size that they're going to put the actual dog park, and they have big plans for making that pretty nice. So that's coming this year. Both of those things are coming this year, and they've talked about building the amphitheater adjacent to the library just across that open field right there, adjacent to the parking area at the library when you come in the westernmost entrance. That one-way street that everybody seems to think is 2 ways. It's not 2 ways, people. Just drive in. You have to go out the other way. Just saying. But there's plans to build a 2,500 capacity seat, not all seats. I was going to say seats. It's not all seats. It'll be like similar to the shoreline where it has a big grassy area, but they'll be able to fit 2,500 people in there with I believe the plan is for a professional stage, and it's going to be up to the city council, I think, as to whether it's set up only for a professional usage kind of thing, or I believe the plan is to make it available to the public too. So I'm sure your input will be appreciated on that as well. And I think that with that, there's other stuff to read about. Oh, I know what I want to tell you. And I didn't send you a graphic for it. But if you go to MHMatters.net, can you put that on the screen? No, mountainhousematters.com or MHMatters.net. Our website. There's a section in there for the upcoming 16th annual Community Garage Sales weekend. Based on the feedback we got before, that we're going to do all of town on one weekend, April 20th and 21st. And so we're taking people, we'd like people to register for that as soon as possible so we can kind of get a gauge on what we're looking at. So far, we've had about a dozen people or so sign up. I think probably mostly people that have done it before. They know how much fun it is and how productive it can be. I think it's at the top. No, up more. Yeah. See where the garage sales sign right there. Yeah, so if you click on that form, maybe go back to the page and just leave the page up. If you click on that form, it'll take you to where you can sign up. And basically, it affords you the opportunity. Oh, there you go. That's the form. It kind of gives you an outline of what the program's going to be about, and then lets you fill out your information so that we can include it. What we will include in our list, Mountain House Matters will build a list and develop a map for general usage for the April 20th. Matt Disco's planning a 420 party, I think. And 421 of that Sunday will be the other day. You can sign up for one day or both days. You can define for us which day you plan to do, or both days. both days is recommended if you can swing it. And on the Facebook page, I put a link in the other day it's pinned at the top of the Facebook page that gives you a site that has some tips for what to consider when you're going to plan to do a garage sale. The way this will work is you'll do a garage sale at your house. You don't have to take stuff anywhere. It's just like you would do a garage sale. It's just we're doing it as a community, so we'll have a map that will show the addresses of where the garage sales are going to be happening. We'll break that up by village so that people that are driving through hopefully can find things in the different villages. And then you can also include some of the main items that you plan to sell. So if people are garage sailing and they're looking for something in particular, they'll be able to look through that list and see who's got what. We typically have had about 150 homes do a sale in a weekend. And previous to last year, we had been doing it where we broke it up over 3 weekends. We did 2 villages per weekend, and College Park got lumped into one of those, so we had 3 villages on one weekend. But it was so new that I think we only had 1 or 2 sales there. But it seemed that people got garage sale fatigue by the 3rd weekend. The activity wasn't nearly as significant as the first 2 weeks. So we did a survey and found that people wanted it all on one weekend. By and large, it was a pretty definitive results that vast majority of people wanted to do it all on one weekend. We'll conduct another survey like that after this one's over. And if we get different feedback, then maybe we'll look at doing it a different way next year. But this is the 16th annual. This came up originally as part of not just to pull, because by master restrictions, you're not really supposed to do garage sales or put your signage all over the place to have a garage sale. You can have a garage sale. You just got to kind of keep it fairly low key. With this, you can do your signs. You can put your signs out. You just have to make sure and pick them up at the end of the day so that we don't have signs littering the whole community. Originally, our waste disposal service would plan to do a general community pickup the week following the community garage sale. And what they found is that people wanted to have the option to not do it that week, but to do it when they wanted it. So now the way it works is you as the resident customer of the Waste Valley disposal, you can call them whenever you want to have your pickup. I have been in touch with them and they know when our sale is going to be. So they're going to be expecting a pretty high volume of people wanting to do their annual spring cleanup where you can put out all kinds of stuff. Maybe I can find that and post where to look for that. All right, well, this is their general site. I'll post this on the Facebook page. There you go. So you can call them and get your pickup scheduled. So if you're going to do the garage sale, it's a great way to clean up your garage, clean up your house, and move some stuff out that you're done with. And then other things that you're ready just to dump, you can do it through West Valley Disposal by your annual free pickup. Another option would be to go with a junk hauler, like we have Luis Hernandez does that, and I know there are other ones out there. So we'll try and put that information out for you as best we can as well. So, but the garage sale thing is always a fun time. People have a good time. It's a great way to meet some of your neighbors as well. So please sign up for that whenever you're feeling ready to commit to it, one or both days, and it'll be a good time. I think do we have any other comments? Will the amphitheater have an indoor area? I do not believe it will. It'll probably have a covered stage area, but as far as the seating in typical amphitheater style, I think it's all outdoors. But it'll go up a slope, so it'll be that way. So it is not an indoor facility. For them to create an indoor theater of that magnitude would be exponentially expensive, and I don't think it fits within the SIF funding. I can talk about SIF if you want a little bit. The way things like this are built is that as residential homes are built, every housing permit that gets pulled includes fees to the developer that typically will get passed on to the contractor who builds the home and therefore passed on in the sale price of the home. They put a per lot fee, which I'm not sure how much that is, but I'm guessing it's about 50,000. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. In that neighborhood, I believe. They get a big chunk of money that goes into a fund that the developers are expected to build things at their own expense, like the town hall and the library. That was like, I believe, $36 million, if I'm not mistaken. It was a lot of money. I could be completely off. I pulled that number out of my memory, might be thinking of something different, but they fronted the money for building all of that, and then they were repaid through the fund that goes through the CSD, is the SIF fund. It's the Community Infrastructure Funding, I believe that stands for. And that is a fund that all of those monies that come from building permits, and that one fund for each house that's going to be built, goes into that fund. The CSD actually is able to keep a small percentage, I think 3% that they keep for administration fee. And then the rest of it goes into this fund so that once the developers build the community amenities, then they will get repaid, and it's done in an in-turn basis. So first in gets paid back first kind of thing. And then, sometimes that can take years for them to get paid back. And so I think there's a lot of jockeying of positions of what should be built first and how we're going to do this and getting them to commit to doing that. And the community center, which has been talked about, that will be down Main Street, just a little block or so down from where the town hall is, eventually will have it'll be an amazing, it looks like it'll be an amazing feature for town. It'll have swimming pools and indoor space and all kinds of stuff. That's coming. How soon it comes, I believe what I've heard most recently is probably 2 to 3 to maybe 5 years out. So, when we got here 15 years ago, we were hearing that it was a certain number of rooftops that had to be built before we could expect to see a grocery store come. That came and went, and then eventually the planning started, and a few years later, then the store happened. So you're building a town out of nothing. If you had nothing here before, you have to come up with ways to make things happen. So there's a lot of moving parts. Even changing over to a city, I saw that our general manager, Steve Pinkerton, was quoted on TV saying that they refer to it in the staff as kind of like changing the engine of a plane while it's in mid-flight. So things are a challenge to make happen. But it's all under a master plan, and eventually all of that can come to fruition. It just, patience is required. Mr. Pinkerton also stated at the grand opening of the Aviara Apartments that perhaps having a swimming pool, knowing that there's a swimming pool at Aviara, will spur the board on, or now our city council on, to push to get the community center developed more quickly. I'm sure if the public were to really make a big to-do about that might help as well. As far as the amphitheater, though, I believe that's moving forward. If people are against it, they should probably speak up now before it even gets done, or it's going to just happen because that's the next thing on the drawing board. And I believe that's all we have. Do we have any more questions? I don't see any. One of the things that you can look forward to, I think, my understanding is, and there might be some roadblocks to it, or it might just be very expensive, but the warehouse buildings that everybody complains about, are used to. You don't hear as many complaints about it now. It doesn't seem to be that much of a eyesore or anything. Those are zoned for light manufacturing, or manufacturing light commercial. So only companies that fit that rather narrow zoning requirement are able to move into there. the city council, as a new city, we won't depend on the county to have a say in that. The city council will be able to conduct some rezoning operations. So I imagine once they get settled in, it might take them a year just to kind of get settled in because they have a year to transition from the CSD to a city. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that they put close to the top of the agenda when they get going on things. So maybe other kinds of features could be put in there is what I'm trying to drive at. You could do a lot of things. So anyway, maybe indoor sports facilities is one thing that's been talked about. I don't know how well that would work or how expensive that would be to make happen, but I believe it'll be feasible for them to change zoning after we're a city. So for those of you that don't know or may have forgotten, as Mountain House approves Measure D, and once that vote is certified, then it'll be a for sure deal. The Community Services District staff, Mr. Pinkerton in particular, plans to do a series of workshops for the incoming city council members and mayor to be ready to launch, and we will launch as a city as of July 1st. So I think a big party is going to be in order for 4th of July, or maybe even on the 1st. We'll have to see how that pans out. But it's an exciting time to be part of Mountain House. It's a historic time, and I think people are pretty excited about becoming a city. Obviously, we've got 91% of the people voting yes on D. I don't think anybody really expected that. I didn't really expect it to be that high. I expected it to pass, but Khalid, you got anything else? We should give you a mic. I think we're good. So this has been your Friday night update, and we appreciate you tuning in. It'll be available on our Facebook page. It's been recorded, so it'll be there and be on our YouTube channel, facebook.com /Mountain House Matters, or youtube.com/@Mountain House Matters. You'll find that there too. Thank you for being with us. It's been a pleasure. Again, I'm Brian Harrison. That's Khalid Saleh, and we are at the Zaytech Academy. Zaytech is collaborating with Mountain House Matters to bring you these video broadcasts. So thank you for your time. Have a great evening and a great weekend. And don't forget to turn your clock forward on Sunday. It's daylight savings time. Have a great night.